The revisit of the 2021 NFL Draft is brought to you by Bear Mattress. I know this video's super late, but perhaps it's late enough for you to think about getting some sleep. You're gonna ask me what's the big deal. You may balk at spending money on a mattress, but trust me, it matters for every aspect of life. You remember crashing on a couch or, God forbid, the floor after a Friday or Saturday night? Low-quality rest affects your mood, energy, even your eating habits. A good night's sleep starts with a premium mattress. That's why Bear Mattress offers a sleep test that'll recommend the perfect mattress for your needs and preferences. For me, it's the Elite Hybrid. I can just fall right into this mattress and let any hip or back pain fade away. Just slowly doze off to sleep and be completely refreshed in the morning. And it's not just me that's enjoyed my mattress from Bear, but guests that stayed during the NFL Draft weekend. Nothing but praise, in his own words. Slept like a baby, fully energized and ready for more NFL Draft shenanigans. It's not about being rested, but recharged. That's what Bear Mattress will do for you. They consistently win Best Overall in the Oprah Sleep Awards for a reason. Plus, they're designed and assembled without any harmful chemicals or fiberglass, so you know you're sleeping on pure quality. I'll continually sing the praises of my Bear Mattress. And if you're looking for a better night's sleep, use code URINATINGTREE in the link below to get 40% off your mattress. And when you feel more energized every morning, tell them I sent you in their post-purchase survey. With the Bear Mattress, you'll sleep like, well, a bear. Babies don't really sleep all that well from experience. On to the video. 2021 was a year in our lives. COVID was still disrupting the ebbs and flows of life we took for granted. Inflation slowly began to creep into the picture in the worst possible ways. The NFL still consumed us whole. Fortunately, it wouldn't take place from Roger Goodell's basement in a simulation rivaling the Running Man. But they did bring his comfy leather recliner from the basement in honor of fans returning to watching Cleveland. COVID did have a massive ripple effect, however. And it showed in the entirety of this draft. A bunch of teams and top prospects opted out in 2020 due to health concerns. The so-called QB class of dreams became a hall of mostly nightmares. And a handful of potentially generational players ogled by many. Prospects were created and held back due to a multitude of factors, shaping the league to this very day. But enough about that. There's a 5-year period to gauge.
With the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson.
He finally arrived after years of hype. Hailed as the best quarterback prospect since a man named Andrew Luck arrived onto the scene. But has the androgynous legend come close to expectations? Not exactly. If he's a victim of Reggie Bush syndrome or not, who knows? His rookie year can't say much about it. Everyone got fucked under Urban Meyer's decay, but since then, it's weird. Trevor has these flashes of brilliance for stretches of time. You can see why scouts love the kid since he was in high school. Then you get to the massive turnover and consistency issues he's had and see why he hasn't been able to reach those lofty heights. What the hell is he? Honestly, depends on the day. His awkward, stumbling grace has led to both frustrations and unexpected heroics. He finished 2025 on a heater, but do we really expect him to maintain that form? He's done this before. That's the mystery of the game itself. Trevor's a good quarterback, one that'll be starting for a long time. That mega deal he got from Duval proves it, but if they permanently rename their stadium Trevor Bank after he retires, probably a fleeting proposition.
The New York Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU.
That meaningless win against the Rams in 2020 fucked the Jets beyond compare. Then again, knowing the Jets, they'd have ruined T-Law too. Instead, they get the consolation prize in Zach Wilson, a BYU product who benefited from a paper-soft schedule during COVID year who threw an amazing pass during his pro day. He wouldn't come close to anything resembling that throw in his NFL career. Boomer bust. The only thing he's scored on with regularity were apparently MILFs. 3 years of atrocious QB play leading to endless boos from New Yorkers and indignation from Wilson himself. And one of those years was simply because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Woody Johnson chucked him under the bus in the end. It was over. Sold off to the QB rotational circus for pennies of his former pedigree. So now we sit in a world where Wilson hasn't started in years and may never get another chance to do so. Hey Zach, you gonna make the Jets vindicated in their pick?
At all. No.
The San Francisco 49ers select Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State.
You know, we were laughing hysterically at the thought of the Niners taking Mac Jones at 3, but in hindsight, it probably would have been better off. Lance was looked at as having potentially the highest ceiling of any QB in this draft. He also was dubbed the QB with the lowest floor of any available top option. Take a wild guess as to which outcome he came closer to. To be fair, he didn't really get much of a chance to prove himself due to a major injury in the second game of Season 2. The real problem came in who snagged the opportunity from him. A Brock with a big cock. Then it came out in Year 3 camp that the Niners had buyer's remorse and he apparently couldn't throw a football at all. Dude was destroyed from the word go and got traded to Dallas for a fourth. Would Trey have revenge on his former team and prove them wrong? Nowhere close. He lingers as a journeyman backup due to his athleticism and past upside, but in-game performance has been outright pathetic. San Fran traded 3 firsts to move up to pick him? This kind of shit gets entire regimes fired on the spot. The Niners are so fucking lucky that Purdy panned out in the end. If not, Shanahan and Lynch would have a gigantic stain on their resumes they simply can't use wideout to remove.
The Atlanta Falcons select Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida.
Atlanta really ran their franchise like a fantasy football team during the Terry Fontenot era. Not that I'm blaming them for taking Pitts here. The dude dominated in college and was looking to be a potentially generational player in the NFL. That's why we said potentially. Kyle's come nowhere close to his pre-draft hype. How much of that's on him, how much of that's due to being stuck in Arthur Smith and Raheem Morris regimes, and how much is just overratings up to the beholder. Although if he has more games like that barn burner against the Bucs last year, he could be something interesting to behold. Kyle finally got the damn ball in his hands at a consistent rate in 2025. Being named second team All-Pro, not bad. Pitts is a fine tight end, that's not the concern. He's just been underwhelming, especially for his pedigree and as the 4th overall pick with an army of elite talent drafted after him. Maybe that consensus changes with time, but so far...
it's alright, I guess.
The Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU.
I remember despising this pick for the Bengals at the time. Especially after Burrow tore his ACL due to a god-awful offensive line, they don't choose the potentially generational offensive tackle in Penei Sewell. Memes were made about it and everything as those defended his connections to Burrow and his insane talent. So as the dust is settled, who ended up being right in the end? Honestly, from certain points of view, we all were. Jamar Chase is the kind of transcendent talent that the Bengals have needed to pair with Burrow. A human highlight reel that talks a big game and backs it up as well. Well, when he isn't spitting on defenders. Projected for a one-way trip to Canton at this point in time. So his supporters are right that he elevated Cincy's offense to unimaginable heights, and the detractors are right for saying that their failure to find the right O-line mix has cost them in the form of Burrow's health. It's a strange dilemma, but if you were to ask the Bengals brass, they make this pick 1,000 times over.
The Miami Dolphins select Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama.
That trade with the 49ers brought the Dolphins 3 strong talents by means of maneuvering. Bradley Chubb, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. The latter of which has been a quality wideout perfect for a West Coast offense. His breakaway speed phenomenal. He's not Jamar Chase good, but still a damn fine option. Too bad Miami was kind of a mess during his 5-year stay. Despite his talents, it all came crashing down in 2025. Mostly due to a combination of injuries, poor roster construction, and Tua turning into goop. All that remains are a mass grave of dead cap and Packers executives trying to rebuild the foundations. And Jalen waddled away, waddle, to Denver, where he'll hopefully solve their horrific papier-mâché hands issue over there. He cost a first-round pick, so goes to show the value as a player. I think he'll do well in Mile High.
The Detroit Lions select Penei Sewell, tackle, Oregon.
Detroit's perfect pick fell right in their lap. And 5 years down the line, Sewell's been just as advertised for the Lions. A staple of the O-line and 3-time first-team All-Pro looking at a possible bronze bust in the future. He was touted as potentially generational, and as a right tackle, it's certainly looking to be the case. Always good when that goes to plan.
The Carolina Panthers select J.C. Horn, defensive back, South Carolina.
I was getting worried about JC for a few years. It wasn't due to any feelings about him as a player or his performance. He legitimately couldn't stay on the field. Horn kept getting injured and unable to piece together consistent games as the doubts picking him over PS2 amplified. To be fair, Carolina as a whole was chaos, so it fit the mold. Things finally changed in year 4. It did for the Panthers in general. Finally being able to prove his father right by maintaining health for long stretches has showcased JC's talent. A breakout into the quality corner Carolina envisioned has been the reward. 2-time Pro Bowlers tend to get rewarded with big-time extensions in the process. Now would I say he's better than Surtain? Absolutely not, but he's been pretty damn respectable.
The Denver Broncos select Pat Surtain, Jr., defensive back, Alabama.
I think some Broncos fans were upset that they took Surtain over Justin Fields when he was picked. PS2 thrives like its namesake did in 2002. Cutting-edge shutdown cornerback play that's helped a revival in Denver. A 3-time All-Pro anchoring a secondary. His father was an incredible corner in the day. PS2's looking to be even better than him. That's saying something there. Pat's dad never won Defensive Player of the Year. A transcendent talent if there ever was one. Home fucking run.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Alabama.
The Giants have been kicking air about this one for years. Their perfect target snatched up by an eagle like a baby duckling in an open field. Thus begins Howie Roseman's redemption arc after that receiver pick. Size concerns? Who the hell needs to worry about that when you're as elusive as Devontae? A true foil to A.J. Brown in Philly, a dynamic threat that every defense has to worry about. We all wanted Roseman fired for the disaster that was 2020. How little we knew at the time.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Chicago made the plunge for a king's ransom. Somehow it wasn't worse for them once the smoke cleared. There's a few good reasons why I wasn't a Fields fan coming into the draft. They've shown repeatedly throughout his NFL career. The fandom calls the wrong Justin the social media quarterback. Fields is this in a goddamn nutshell. Everyone sees the one or two plays on Twitter where he uses his feet to escape certain doom. Tame the impossible, and immediately everyone declares him an incredible quarterback. They ignore the other 98% of his play. The terrible decision-making, the constant mistakes and errors, holding on to the football for too goddamn long. And this is even ignoring Matt Nagy's disaster class sending him to die his rookie year. He'd try his hardest, but his abilities just don't convert to the position at this level. His best form was in Pittsburgh in 2024, but he was more of a game manager than anything, and he still got benched for Russ's moonballs during the year. Then came the Jets. It was a complete train wreck. Enough said. Now with the Chiefs, his clock as a starter may be finished. I think Justin could end up turning into a Taysom Hill type with his ability, but he's not a full-time QB. That's been proven repeatedly. Can we please stop with the Fields grift? It's been tiresome for years on end.
The NFL draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Michael Parsons, linebacker, Penn State.
So the Cowboys couldn't get Patrick Surtain? Calls for picking an athletic freak on the edge. A man who terrorizes offensive lines at every opportunity. Hall of Fame bound with his accolades right now. True impact talent. That's what Micah Parsons is in spades. The only way this would be better is if Jerry Jones wasn't a fucking moron and played chicken with him on a freeway during contract negotiations. That would result in a ticket to frigid Lambeau in Jerry's quest to stop the run. And Micah got paid a metric shit ton of money, once again resetting the edge rusher market as reward. He was phenomenal in 2025 for the Pack. Until a torn ACL ended his season. You can tell Green Bay sorely missed him after the fact. That's what guys like Parsons do. They make a difference on the field.
The Los Angeles Chargers select Rashawn Slater Jr., tackle, Northwestern.
A beast. That's what Rashawn Slater is at his peak. His rookie campaign had the bold talk all about his future. And alongside Joe Alt, they boast one of the strongest tackle pairings in the league. In theory. My only concern with him is injuries. Rashawn lost 2022 to a torn bicep and 2025 with a torn patellar tendon suffered in camp. The latter injury's been known to be a death sentence in the past, but if he can get anything close to his old form, he'll be okay. Slater's too damn good a talent to fall to that sword.
The New York Jets select Elijah Vera Tucker, guard, USC.
The Jets traded up to protect their future franchise QB and ended up with neither. Elijah Vera Tucker's the kind of player who's quite useful to an O-line. Problem is he's rarely healthy enough to prove it. Vera Tucker's only had 2 of 5 seasons where he's played more than half the year. He was out for all of 2025 due to a second torn tricep. Yeah, he's had 2 of those. Perhaps like many men, he'll find success once leaving MetLife Hell. The Patriots gave him a 3-year deal to fix O-line issues, but Elijah's got to hit the ground running. If he keeps getting taken out, the danger of bustum lurks around the corner.
The 6-time world champion New England Patriots select Mac Jones.
Bill Belichick should be brought to The Hague to answer for his crimes. The utter ruination of Mac Jones on his watch is one of the most heinous botchings of player development in recent times. Mac's rookie year showed a player who was confident, poised, intelligent, and cerebral. A man who was looking to be the perfect replacement for Tom Brady as he led the Pats to the playoffs. He was the only rookie QB who looked competent for a time, for God's sake. New England saw this as a challenge. No one surviving an OC tandem of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. That's when the wheels started coming off. Then Bill O'Brien came back into the fray and Mac regressed into a shell of himself. The so-called franchise future was destroyed in about 20 months. And the new regime meant that he'd be exiled to backup duty in Jacksonville in 2024. Although this comes with a disclaimer. With his ongoing rehabilitation in San Francisco, Jones is primed for a potential redemption arc. It happened with Baker and Darnold after their Year 5 revisits, and a strong 2025 showed that it's possible for Mac. Problem is, I can't base this grade on what-ifs. I have to make it on what's been shown. We'll reassess this one in a few years.
The Arizona Cardinals select Zaven Collins, linebacker, Tulsa.
You can have all the raw attributes for success. Premium ingredients at your disposal to make a high-quality NFL player, but it means nothing if there isn't any football yeast to let the talent rise. Zaven Collins is one of these players. He's been playing regularly for the Cardinals, but Zaven's just kind of been there. It's the same issue they had with Isaiah Simmons. He doesn't have a true position. Arizona's been moving him around the field with mixed results. Pretty good at containing the run on the edge, but Zaven's been more of a rotational piece on some dire Arizona defenses. PFF has really liked him for what it's worth. Collins does have a role in an NFL club, but you can't help but be disappointed that he hasn't found more success.
The Las Vegas Raiders select Alex Leatherwood, tackle, Alabama.
On the record, I was a fan of Leatherwood in this draft, but I thought he was a bit of a reach with the Steelers pick at 24. See him picked at 17? Gruden can have him. And it's all thanks to Tom Cable for some damn reason. Why people listen to that guy about anything is news to me. Alex had one absolutely putrid season as a starter in Raider Nation. Then the Gruden-Mayock regime went tits up. Leatherwood lost his allies and got cut after his second camp. Since then, he's bounced around a few teams' practice squads, poorly played a handful of games for the Bears, and is currently out of the league. Well, at least he's got that fine collection of memes to fall back on.
The Miami Dolphins select Jalen Phillips, defensive end, Miami.
I'll say this, when he's healthy, Jalen's a phenomenal player. Problem is that he's rarely at full strength. The dude had issues in college due to injuries. Hell, he medically retired due to them at UCLA. Sadly, they've continued in the pros. Major leg injuries have limited him in multiple seasons, both in setback and rehab. His 2025 campaign was at least a healthy one from an on-field perspective. And he got a new lease on life with a trade to the Eagles, but he didn't really do all that much there. Even with being reunited with Vic Fangio, there was little to go on. The good news is for his bank account. A weak edge rusher market got him $30 million a year from the Panthers this offseason. Really? That much for such an injury wildcard? Honestly, a lot like Jalen's career so far. It's fine.
The Washington football team selects Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky.
Ron Rivera should never be held responsible for team personnel again. His drafts in Washington are all the evidence I need. Jamin Davis was an incredibly raw talent coming out of college. Somewhere, Gordon Ramsay's still yelling at Riverboat Ron about how Jamin's rotted from within. Started 3 dismal years in Washington that were mostly known for Dan Snyder's last stand than anything related to football. Jamin wasn't all that good there. Then Rivera was finally put to pasture for Dan Quinn. Davis fell out of favor fast, getting cut by Washington early into the 2024 season and is currently bouncing around practice squads. New age middle linebacker? Yeah, maybe in another save file.
The New York Giants select Kadarius Toney.
Who knew this bald bastard would be right? Somehow a trade that should have been another fleecing of Chicago turned into a Trojan horse burning their HQ to the ground. This would also be Kadarius Toney as a player in the NFL. What exactly did he do besides run himself out of New York at record speed? Okay, besides that big punt return he had in the Super Bowl in Kansas City. Maybe that's why Urban Meyer coveted him in this draft. Certainly can't be for his lack of production on the field, or his repeated mental lapses and drops. He was last seen muffing punts on repeat in Cleveland and taunting the Chiefs on Twitter when getting belt to ass against the Eagles. Either that or his, rap career. Thus ends the tale of Kadarius Toney. I'm sorry, two-time Super Bowl champion Kadarius Toney.
The Indianapolis Colts select Kwity Paye, defensive end, Michigan.
The Giants could have had this guy instead of the Dave Gettleman special. Kwity Paye's not an elite player by any means, but he'd have been a hell of a lot better than Toney. A reliable starting caliber defensive end. The kind of player that can truly thrive on a playoff contender. As a complimentary piece, Kwity signed with the Raiders in the free agent bonanza this offseason with starting role expectations. And as a first-round pick, you can do a lot worse. Just look at who he's sandwiched between.
The Tennessee Titans select Caleb Farley, defensive back, Virginia Tech.
John Robinson took a strong contender and gutted it with a series of moves that started long before that implosion started. From Isaiah Wilson's train wreck followed by Caleb Farley. Health was a major issue of his going into the draft. Know what they say in sports? Best stability is availability. Farley was consistently hurt. He never got anywhere close to his projections. After only 21 games and as many season-ending injuries as he had starts, Caleb finds himself out of football. Somehow Farley wasn't even the biggest disaster the Titans drafted during the stretch.
The Minnesota Vikings select Christian Darrisaw, tackle, Virginia Tech.
O-linemen are pretty straightforward when being drafted. They can either block at this level or they can't. Darrisaw can, so he's a solid pick for the Vikings. Although he's been pretty banged up over the past few seasons, so performance has been limited on that front, Christian's still a fine tackle at full strength. It's why Minnesota gave him the big bucks to be their blindside blocker for years to come. Hopefully, it's not a sign of repeated ailments to come.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Najee Harris, running back, Alabama.
I hated the Steelers' 2021 draft from the word go, and I've probably been vindicated by it for the most part. They needed to go O-line heavy after losing 3 starters due to age and retirement, but chose to draft a running back first for reasons? Who the fuck was blocking for him? That was a question we'd ask for almost the entirety of Najee's tenure here. He's a great guy with a tremendous story, but the prowess he showed at Bama was rarely seen in Pittsburgh. A low-event runner with few breakaway moments so far in his career. It's honestly more alarming when Jaylen Warren, an undrafted free agent, shows more elusiveness and burst than the high-profile first-rounder from the word go. Harris did have 4 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing campaigns, but they force-fed him the ball so much it was like Mike Tomlin's non-losing season streak. Completely hollow. It's why the Steelers were comfortable letting him walk to free agency in the Chargers, where he ruptured his Achilles early on. Damn shame Najee didn't deserve that, but the Steelers dug their own grave. Just uninspired and blah.
It's alright, I guess.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Travis Etienne, running back, Clemson.
Apparently we've been saying his name wrong the whole time he was in Jacksonville. As a Jaguar, Travis Etienne had a rough start with the season-ending Lisfranc injury in camp as a rookie. It might have been a blessing he was safe from Urban Meyer. We feared it robbed his potential in the NFL, but surprisingly it didn't hamper him too much. He's been a respectable running back. Not an all-pro, but he does offer unique wrinkles with his pass-catching abilities and propensity for splash plays. His 2024 was alarming, but he had a much-needed resurgence in 2025 with almost 1,400 all-purpose yards. That season got Etienne a sizable payday from the Saints to take the load off Alvin Kamara and complement Tyler Shough, which he should do well. But I'm kinda torn. His grades between men success. I'll give it to him.
We have Gregory Newsome II.
He was supposed to be the wingman to Denzel Ward's shutdown prowess. What the Browns got was a player who continually frustrated and agonized their fans for years on end. The only thing Greg's gonna be remembered for in Cleveland were getting pissed at being moved to a nickel corner slot and getting torched repeatedly. Especially in the playoffs. After a few mediocre starting years, he would end up losing favor in Berea, then got flipped to Jacksonville in a whipping boy swaparoo. Newsome's skills didn't convert in Duval either. Now he heads to a rebuilding Giant squad where he looks to rebuild both his skills and reputation. Maybe he can bring the Uno-Cart sunglasses with him.
That's okay.
The Baltimore Ravens select Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota.
If Cleveland got a frustrating player who was seen as a wise pick in Newsome, Baltimore got the offensive equivalent. Bateman had everything you'd want for a team desperate for receivers. breakaway speed, elusiveness, and elite separation. In the end, their top wideout for Lamar would be found next year. Rashad and the Ravens just haven't been on the same page. The front office would rip his ass a new one on more than one occasion, and Bateman would rip the team for allegedly underutilizing him at every opportunity. A promising 2024 undone by massive regression in 2025, where he never gets the ball and publicly gripes on social media about it. Yes, Rashad, you were hacked. That's the excuse everyone makes when complaints backfire. He's somehow still on the Ravens. For now. Who knows if he'll be in a different uniform come the start of next season? Or if he'll ever reach his potential.
It's alright, I guess.
The New Orleans Saints select Peyton Turner, defensive end, Houston.
Heir apparent to Cameron Jordan, eh? With the situation as precarious as Nola's, fresh off Drew Brees retiring, they needed to nail this selection to bridge the gap between eras. They failed miserably. Turner never transitioned from the college ranks. The dude hasn't started a game in the NFL and has barely seen the field, even for a team that desperately needed young legs like the Saints. The third round grade at the draft may have been generous. Just a sheer failure to launch. A lot like the Saints post Brees.
The Green Bay Packers select Eric Stokes, defensive back, Georgia.
Eric Stokes wasn't exactly a beloved pick with Packers fans. Going for dire need over the sexy options didn't have the desired effect. He was very, very fast at getting run out of Wisconsin. Stokes had what we call rookie woes and the injury bug. He got taken out for huge chunks of the 2022 and 23 seasons. And by that point, he had been usurped for playing time, even with injury woes for Jair Alexander, and his fifth-year option would be declined. He'd move to the Raiders on a prove-it deal, where he'd have a bounce-back season. PFF loved the guy in 2025, too. Eric's managed to develop his coverage skills and earned a 3-year extension from Las Vegas. Stokes may simply be a late bloomer, but I want to see more before I truly call him redeemed.
That's okay.
The Buffalo Bills select Gregory Rousseau, defensive end, Miami.
Rousseau fell further than I was expecting in this draft, but that would be Buffalo's reward. Having trouble getting to the quarterback was their ailment, and Rousseau is okay at it. Not the double-digit sack monster they were expecting, but a solid, well-rounded edge rusher that's been an asset to the Bills' defense for years on end. And will be for a bit longer with that extension he signed. Buffalo may have their woes, but Rousseau isn't really one of them.
The Baltimore Ravens select Jason Owe, linebacker, Penn State.
The currently named Odafe Oweh had some of the most potent tools of any edge rusher in the draft, but would there be a toolbox for him to store them in? That's the question with an extremely raw guy like him. It took Odafe a few years to get into form, and he's had flashes of brilliance, but it's pretty frustrating. So which Oweh do we get? The one that broke out in 2024? Does he go ice cold like he did in the early part of 2025? Or does he become revived with the Chargers in what all but saved his draft grade? Oweh's got serious talent, but he's incredibly streaky. Washington's gambling on that talent with a huge payday. Considering the weak market, risky as all hell. May he hopefully find consistency in this new domain.
It's alright, I guess.
The Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Joe Tryon, linebacker, Washington.
We thought Tampa Bay had landed into a gym after winning a ring. In reality, not so much. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka's physical traits haven't exactly translated to on-field production. He's had modest success, but as a pass rusher, being unable to get to the quarterback with regularity isn't exactly ideal. He'd start for 3 years in Tampa and have modest stats, but got tapered off in year 4 with declining ability. Joe'd take a prove-it deal in Cleveland, flop there, get traded to Chicago for a late pick swap, and flop there as well. Now he's with the Eagles on another prove-it deal. And unfortunately, that's not the only thing he's gonna have to prove moving forward. So the legacy of this draft is a bit complicated. 2021's gonna be known for a glut of impact talents and future Hall of Famers blessed to many franchises. Except at the position everyone expected. For a class with potentially 6 QBs drafted in the first round, only one's a starter at this time. The rest either were misjudged or never developed. Or got ruined by the Patriots. Due to either COVID or situations around their teams, it's become a what-if class. 2021's a damn good one, but it could have been so much more with another QB or two that panned out. Continuing down the line, the second round was full of starting caliber talent, including an elite offensive lineman who's on a trajectory right to Canton. The Chiefs nailed their second rounder. Creed Humphrey's the kind of anchor that teams dream about day and night. An absolute gem that could potentially be called the best center of his generation. That's how good he is. To be fair, there weren't many second-round picks that flopped. The O-line portion of this round was loaded. Guys like Landon Dickerson, Liam Eichenberg, Aaron Banks, Sam Cosmi, and Josh Myers litter the fold alongside more. You also have starting caliber pieces such as Tyson Campbell, Javonte Williams, Javon Holland, Christian Barmore, Trayvon Merrick, Pat Freiermuth, Nick Bolton, and Pete Warner on top of it. Honorable mention to Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who'd be in this list if not for severe injury. The third round has a few guys who've taken that step up to greatness. I have to mention Divine Diablo. The meme legend himself has become pretty solid as a starter at this level. Same for Nico Collins, the top-flight wideout that's playing his best football for the Texans over the past few seasons. Then there's two-time All-Pro Quinn Miners. Another reason why Denver's revival been as strong as it has. Other big names include Aleem McNeil, Milton Williams, Osa Odigizua, Spencer Brown, Robert Hainsey, and Ernest Jones. Jones has done well but bounced around a few teams for some reason. Round number 4 is one gigantic superstar found from the word go. Amon-Ra St. Brown. A legitimate number 1 receiver who, like Creed Humphrey, has Hall of Fame potential at this point. There are also a handful of long-term starters in the bunch. Guys like Drew Dahlman, Ramondre Stevenson, Cam Bynum, Chuba Hubbard, and Dan Moore. Still can't believe the Titans gave Dan Moore $50 million guaranteed. The 5th round gives us Evan McPherson's strong kicking, the elusive Kenneth Gainwell, Nate Hobbs' rookie hype, D. Lenore to Daryl Slayton and Mini Polomalu himself. Talanoa Hufanga, the greatest gift of them all. In round 6, Kansas City made another home run pick for their offensive line, probably a reason why they want a few more rings in Trey Smith. The staple at right guard and 2-time Pro Bowler delivering them an incredible steal. Other notables include Roy Lopez and Isaiah McDuffie. Honorable mention to Damar Hamlin for obvious reasons. The 7th round didn't offer much, but Denver found gold late. His name is Jonathan Cooper, a strong edge rusher that's boasted a double-digit sack season and consistent threat for an elite Bronco defense now and moving forward. Will Freeze is another player who's found modest success at this level as well. The Mr. Irrelevant of this class was a linebacker out of Houston named Grant Stewart. He got picked by Tampa Bay, and while he hasn't been a full-time starter, he's forged a role as a special teamer and reserve player for the Bucs, Colts, and Lions. He just signed with the Rams this offseason, so he's still filling a role, where teams can really shine are in undrafted free agents. In 2021, there were a couple of big ones. First, Alaric Jackson, developing from an outsider to a full-time blindside blocker on a strong Rams offensive line. Secondly, Christian Ellis, he who went from a reserve player in Philadelphia to a solid contributor in the Patriots' resurgent Super Bowl squad. The rest of the undrafted list are role players and depth pieces, guys like Ryan Newsel, Ardarius Washington, Devin Key, Naquan Jones, even Riley Patterson and Adam Prentice. It goes to show that talent in a draft can come from anywhere. It can also make or break franchises. Denver and Kansas City nailed this year. The Jets, not so much. May we never experience COVID restrictions again.
Hey, look, let me tell y'all something. Y'all can boo all y'all want, but you gotta accept it. I got a ring. I got a ring. I got a ring. It is what it is. But I thank the NFL for giving me the opportunity to do this, and I thank the Baltimore organization for giving me the opportunity to do this. Because as a child, you want to do this. So with the 94th pick, the Baltimore Ravens select from Georgia, Ben Cleveland.